Welcome to the Year 2 Maths Workshop.
Even though we use maths in all areas of our everyday life, it's not uncommon to feel insecure of our own maths ability. It's worth asking yourself, how do you feel about maths, and how can we as a school help you and your child? There are 5 main areas of mathematics that we study in Year 2. These are number, calculation, measurement, fractions and geometry. We dedicate the whole of the autumn term to number and calculation, and then we use these skills throughout the year to complement the other areas.
When introducing a new concept in Key Stage 1, it's incredibly important that we start with the concrete. This means that children use actual physical resources and manipulate them to see how the concept works. Once they are secure in the concrete, then we move on to the abstract. It's important to remember that using resources is not cheating. It is the first step of our scheme of work and vitally important. We follow a math scheme of work known as AET. It is divided into 5 different stages, starting with representation. Here, a new concept is modelled to the children, and then they are required to show their understanding by using concrete resources. After which, they do a variety of tasks which require them to apply the concept they've just been taught. We then move on to probing questions. Here, the children are required to explain their understanding and provide proof to support their answer. We then move on to further extension and written sophisticated tasks. Here, the children solve problems and challenges related to the concept. We often expose the children to rich and sophisticated challenges during the plenary section of our maths lessons.
These are some examples of the questions from the different stages. As you will see, the challenge level increases, as does the range of language and skills required to problem solve. These are the end of Year 2 National Curriculum expectations. The main emphasis is to develop fluency. This means the children will be able to quickly recall their mental maths facts and find creative ways to problem solve a variety of concepts. Their working out needs to be accurate, and they need to clearly explain their understanding using the correct mathematical language.
As mentioned before, we spent most of the autumn term focusing on number and calculation. The children's understanding of place value is vitally important as it underpins almost every mathematical concept. We focus on ensuring that the children understand the value of each digit in a number. Our main focus is on 2-digit numbers. We use Dean's, Numicon and place value counters in order to represent place value. You could support your child at home by discussing the numbers that you see around you, asking them, what is the value of the 1 in 16? What is the value of the 4 in 45? It's important that they are able to use the language of tens and ones to be able to explain the value. While we mainly deal with numbers in maths, there are also key words or phrases associated with each of the operations. We teach the children to be able to spot them, which then helps them to solve worded problems. Knowing the correct vocabulary also then helps them to explain their thinking when they are tackling probing questions.
For addition and subtraction, children need to be able to use their number bonds to 20, and then derive associated facts to 100. This demonstrates a solid understanding of the tens place and the ones place. They will also need to be able to check their calculations using the inverse and solve addition and subtraction problems using a variety of resources. There are many ways to support addition and subtraction at home. Household objects will provide a great concrete base for children to practice their working out. The number bond cards and online platforms such as Top Marks are great for children to practice short, repetitive bursts of recalling mental maths facts.
In Year 2, we focus on the 2, 3, 5 and 10 times tables. We also ensure that they understand the related division facts and are able to represent them using different methods such as grouping, sharing, an array, and understand that multiplication is repeated addition. They'll then be able to use this knowledge to help them when they work with fractions, because they understand when you divide by 2, that means that you're looking at half of the number, or when you divide by 3, then that would be a third. We also focus on the commutative property of multiplication, where the children understand that the order of the numbers will not have an influence on the answer, which is the product. This is not the case for division, though. We've been focusing on counting in 2s, 5s and 10s for a while now. We have introduced the children to counting in 3s, and although this is possibly the most difficult of the four, they have done really well to pick it up so far. Please continue to ask your children to count in multiples of 2s, 3s, 5s and 10s. By the end of the year, they should be confident and fluent in counting in 2s, 5s and 10s, as well as know that multiplication is commutative but that division is not. Another way that you can support your child at home is by allowing them to go on to Times Table Rockstars. The teachers will set a specific times table or multiple times tables for them to practice in the garage mode. The more maths becomes real to your children and the more they use it in everyday life, the easier it becomes. So please continue to support your child at home by doing things such as playing games with them, allowing them to handle the money when going shopping, asking them about time, ask them what time is it now, what time do you go to bed, as well as getting them to share or divide things, and also support them with their online learning. A key way that you can help your child at home is by asking them to explain their thinking. This is more in line with what we do with probing questions. And the more they talk about their thinking, the easier it becomes for them, but it's really important that they speak in coherent sentences using the correct vocabulary. You could ask them to convince you of a mathematical fact that they know. They would be required to give you proof of how they know they are correct. You could even include a true or false question and ask them to explain how they know it's true or false.
There are many great free resources available online for the children to practice their maths. These include the BBC Bitesize website and Top Marks. We often use these in school and we would encourage children to practice these at home too.